Yeah.
Hello, Margaret Saville.
Hello.
Yeah,
You're
go
not
back a long way.
related, you're not related to an
Nothing
Owen
really
Saville,
together.
are you?
Sorry?
You're not related to an Owen Saville.
No, not. I don't think so. No.
My best mate's called Owen Saville.
Oh, right.
But Margaret and I go back a long way. We were nursing students together.
It was a very long time ago.
So
Wow.
that's why you said a bedpan and a stethoscope and an apron, as my mum says. Anyway, I'm now so thank you for joining us on this lovely sunny day. If it's anything like Hampshire, it's miserable and dark.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just
Stoke isn't letting us down. It's pouring rain.
It's been a bit miserable morning so far. And for those of you that haven't been to our coffee morning before, welcome, and hope you enjoy hearing a bit more about our artists. If you'd like to wait until the end of what I'm going to be asking Ian, if you've got any questions, but if you can't wait and you're so excited, just put your hand up. Can't put your hand up, put your tongue out, something, and show us that you'd like to ask a question. So Ian, Stoke-on-Trent, moment, but where are you from originally? And tell us a little bit about your family and your upbringing.
Well, I'm originally from Sussex, in Crawley in Sussex, and I started. This is where Louise comes in. I started at school, special school in at Chailey in Sussex. I went there for how many years? 16 years, 17 years, something like that. So I boarded there for a good few years. I think till about 12 or 13 or something like that. And then I had a few years where I went in daily from home because I was only half an hour away. And then the last year I finished off because there were only two of us doing O levels. Mike, my best friend Mike, and myself. And so I decided to go boarding again for the week so that we could work together on the O levels. Family, mum, dad, two sisters, Kay and Joy, both older than me. And we're all been living in Sussex. Crawley, we're all Crawleyites now.
And your uniqueness comes from happened at birth.
Arthrogryposis, the so-called disability I've got. I was born with it. I was in many ways I count myself blessed in the fact that I didn't have an accident. I didn't have a sudden illness come upon me or something like that. So what I've got is what I've been used to all my life, really.
And I was thinking about this the other day when we were talking to Rob Trent with arthrogryposis. Is it something that deteriorates, or is it something? I mean, were you originally, when you grew up, were you able to walk and do normal things, or is it something that you've been in a wheelchair all your life?
Well, I started off by I was walking on calipers and crutches up till about 12. But then again, I started because I couldn't stop myself from falling over. And so I had several nasty falls. But thankfully, thank the Lord, I didn't actually end up breaking anything. And it was coming to the point where I had to make the decision. Did I carry on trying to persevere on calipers and crutches just for the sake of it and hope everything will be all right? Or did I really just want to concentrate on doing my exams? Because I was starting to, come up with a choice about 12, what you wanted to do with CSEs and O levels as they were then. And I thought, well, it makes just a lot more sense. I discussed it with a good friend of mine who was a physio at Chailey, Ruth, and I said, well, is it really worth me just trying to carry on, just persevere, or would it be better to bite the bullet, as it were, and play safe and go in a wheelchair and getting on with the exams? So and that's what I chose to do.
At school, did you have any use of your hand to write and learn? Did you learn to write with your hand to start with, or
No, I've never been able to grip with my hands, apart from in the powered wheelchair. I could get the on the control box, so I could move a bit of movement in my arms, slight movement in my fingers. But I've always learnt to write and as it was to draw and paint using my mouth. When I go to do school visits, demonstrations and talks, I say in a way a bit like my mouth is a bit like my hand, because they get asked the question, well, is it easy to use your mouth? And I say, well, in a way it wouldn't be for you, but it is for me, because it's second nature. I don't have to think about what I'm doing. It's like when you use your hand, you don't have to think what you're doing. Well, it's the same with me with my mouth, because I've always done it. And I can remember my mum saying when I was young, I used to roll around the floor a lot. And when I was particularly young, I'd go for hospital checkups and things like that. And I would roll around, pick up a pen or whatever, and the doctors and nurses would, oh, what's going to happen? You're really worried about me. And my mum would say, no, don't worry. He knows what he can and can't pick up. And so it was, kind of second nature to me.
and when you were at school, is that when, like me, is that when you found your interest in painting, or is it something that are your parents artistic?
We kind of got an arty stream running through us a bit, I think. One of my granddads it turned out to be a bit arty. My dad is, my eldest sister is, well, actually my younger sister is now as well. She's coming into art and craft as well. So I always enjoyed drawing. Any opportunity, I loved it. Pen, pencil, whatever, line paper, plain. I was always drawing. But painting, oh no, I didn't like painting much at one stage because I couldn't control the paint. It was like, well, no, what am I going to do? But when it came to, I wanted to take art for a CSE and then go on to O level, and so I had to learn how to become a painter. So that took quite a lot of perseverance, but in a way, it wasn't natural.
I mean, from O level to degree is a big step, isn't it? So
yes.
How did that happen?
Well, it was just a natural progression, really. I did CSE, and then I did an O level the year after.
All at Chailey.
All at Chailey, and then I went on to Trelaw in Hampshire, and I did A levels.
Go Trelaw.
I did A levels at Alton College, which included art.
So you would have been one of the first students to go to Alton College, I would think, were you?
Not far off, I think. I think there might have been one or two beforehand, but we were one of the, some of the early ones. Yeah, certainly. That was really good fun.
And and so Alton College. So you weren't at Trelaw for very long. Was it 3 years?
2 years, just while I did my my O levels, yeah.
And then
A levels, sorry, yeah.
And then you went to Stoke.
Then I did a foundation course in art in Coventry, so I did a year in Coventry.
Why Coventry?
Because I went to Hereward, because it was a place that again,
right.
had all the support and all the rest of it. So I did a foundation course in art there, and that was good.
And what about student times? I know that when I went from being at Trelaw's, it's like you, I spent my life in residential school. How was going to an able-bodied, going straight into do a degree with able-bodied students? Was that how did you find that?
Well, it kind of had a little bit of a transition in my because I did the A levels at Alton College. I was very much in the able-bodied environment then, and we actually found it liberating. I found it liberating. It was really good to just be a student in a way. I can remember at the college, and the college meant it for a right reason, because it was jammed. There was 1,500 students for a college that was designed for 500, and there are a good few of us in wheelchairs. There are about 20 of us in wheelchairs, and it wasn't huge for. And they said, well, if we move you guys to maybe a safer area, as they put it, to have lunch, would that be okay? And so we kind of said, no, that wouldn't be okay. And so we actually stayed very much in the canteen with everybody else, because we wanted to be part of the main community of students, just being normal students. So when I actually got to do my degree, it was right for me then to move on. It was kind of like a natural progression. Whereas if I'd gone from Chailey, which is fully residential, obviously, school for the disabled, to mainstream degree course, that would have been quite a culture shock, I think. But thank the Lord, I was able to have a progression, so it was comfortable.
And that progression from foundation year. So foundation year, for those of you that don't know how art works, foundation year is the year where really you have a go at try to go at as many different styles and mediums, so that you get an idea of what you want to do. So you sort of went on to fine art.
Yes.
Is that right? So you did the fine arts degree.
Yes, I did a fine art degree,
and
specialising in painting. Yeah.
Okay, and that was the 3 years. 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was Stoke.
Yes, that's right.
Was this where you met Mary?
This is where I met Mary. Yeah, we were both on the course. She was doing fine art printing, and I was doing fine art painting, as I say. And that's where we met up. Yeah, that's where the Lord decided that we should meet up, and it was really good. It was kind of, as she would tell you, I actually arrived slightly late for one reason or another on the course, just trying to get the care sorted out. I couldn't get the care and the funding sorted out for a few months, so I kind of arrived a little bit late. And I know that they kind of prepped the students then that there was somebody with special needs who was coming, on the course, and try and make him feel welcome. Well, once I got there, they kind of threw that out the window, and I kind of went in with all guns blazing. But yeah, that's so I settled in very quickly.
And so art. When did you first know about the Mouth and Foot Painting Association?
Well, that was actually when I was in early teens. I think it was a social worker that actually introduced me to the idea of the Mouth and Foot Painting artist. And I thought, well, that might be something that's worth doing. But because I was doing all my other courses and everything, and I was probably too young then anyway, I kind of forgot about it. But once I'd been with Mary for some time, and the possibility of us getting married came up and being together for life, as it were, and I suddenly thought, well, what am I going to do for a job? Being an artist is all okay, but it's not easy. And then I was reminded yes, hang on, the Mouth and Foot Painters. And so I actually approached them, I think, in 1991 or 92. 92 when I was actually taken on. Yeah. So the timing of everything, kind of came together. I had work available. I was working full time as an artist, you could say, even though I was a student at uni, but I was very much working full time. And so I was in the right place to approach the Mouth and Foot Painters.
And do you now and Mary, do you do art together? I mean, does she encourage you to try have a go at printing, even if it's potato prints?
Well, yeah, no, yeah, I mean, it's funny, when we were at university, there was one thing, she was doing art to do with kind of disability and things like that. And there's one thing we wish we had done then, which was actually to do an exhibition together, because I was doing things to do with my work to do with my disability. And we just thought, oh yeah, no, it would be really good, but the lecturers got a bit funny about that, which was a shame, because actually it turned out when the people came to review her, assess her final work, as it were, they said, well, why didn't you do that? And she felt really crushed, really annoyed, because she said, I wanted to. But yeah, I mean, coming back to the question, yeah, It's something I'd like to do over to do more of now, which is working with Mary with maybe doing a bit of lino cut work and things like that, so I can actually draw it out. The physicality of cutting it might be difficult, but I'll give it a go, and Mary can help me think under, so I can say under instruction. But it'd be great because there's that, and there's silk screen printing and things like that that she does as well. So it's certainly an element that would be nice to have a go at, have a play with.
And what's your normal medium that you use? What's your favourite?
Well, the main one I use is acrylic. As an example of my work behind my head here, this is actually a physical thing. If I knocked it, it would shake. It's actually on a big canvas. But yeah, yeah, my youngest daughter, will be annoyed because she's bought it off me, so I don't want to damage it. Be in trouble with Emily.
Isn't that the picture you did for the monument? Picture?
Yeah, it was. It was one of those times where you end up doing a series of work. I ended up doing 4 bridges in a year, which was, by the end of the year, I was a bit fed up. But I mean, it was worth it in the end, because the one I finished with was the one behind me. So it kind of, they grew each time and became more complicated. So this is Chatsworth Bridge in the snow.
So what year did you get married?
We got married, I better get the right year, 1993.
So that was the year you became a student with the Mouth and Foot Painters as well.
Yes.
93. Yeah. And then you've had 2 daughters.
Yeah, Holly and Emily. Yep.
And have they followed in your footsteps? Are they arty?
Yeah, very much so. Holly's in the process of setting up her own craft business, online craft business. So she's very much into weaving and crochet and macrame, I think it's called, and things like that. And Holly, Emily's a kind of like an illustrator with drawing. She's very, very spontaneous with the drawing and painting, and she's a writer as well. So we kind of, yeah, we're kind of an art commune in a way. We view ourselves at the moment.
And you're settled in Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah, I mean, I realised the other year that I've actually been in Stoke-on-Trent, or we've been in Stoke-on-Trent more than half our lives now. So we count ourselves as adopted Stokies. You can see that with the mug I've got. I've got a Stokey mug here.
You're not a Stoke supporter, though, are you?
No, I'm a Vale supporter.
My mum's
into trouble with my friends.
Supporter. So, with the Mouth and Foot Painters, then, how does that work with you? You're plodding on along nicely.
Yeah.
And so 93, you've been in the association a few years.
Yeah.
And then this year, 2 years ago, you were asked to do this book. So tell us a bit about Victor.
Victor in the book. I'll just do something slightly.
If you're all right, if you've calmed down a bit now talking about Victor.
Yeah, I've come down to earth now. I can do that. It's all right. I mean, at this time last year, I was up to my neck in being interviewed about the book. So I think I'm used to talking about it now, which is useful, because when I kind of finished the book, the last thing I wanted to do was talk about it. I really did not want to see it then, but I mean, it's one of those things. Just before saying about the book, the timing of everything. I know, Tom, you said the other couple of weeks ago, you said we're here for a purpose, and I believe that as a Christian is very important to me, and I believe the timing, things work out. And 2012, it really goes back to 2012, because 2012 we had the art exhibition in Winchester, the competition. And if I may just have a couple of minutes there, I can remember I wasn't going to enter it, and I really wasn't sure what to do. I was busy doing other stuff for the Mouth and Foot Painters. I was really quite busy with paintings, and I can remember one of the wives of Keith Yancey's wife, who was doing things to do with the newsletter then, and I can remember she messaged me, or put a general message out. And of course, Ian would do a couple of steam trains. And I thought, really? A couple of steam trains? And this was like 3 months out for when we had to send in the final pieces for the potential, for the competition and that. And I thought, well, previously when I've done a steam train like that, as complicated as that was likely to be, it took me 6 months. And I thought, well, what do I do? Shall I go for it? And I thought, okay, right, I accept the challenge. I'll go for it. And so I ended up doing both steam trains. And I'm glad I did, because actually it turned out that one of them ended up winning the competition. And it was that year as well, because if you remember, 2012 was the London Olympics. Everybody else was getting gold medals, and I got a gold medal. And it was at the end of that, actually, that I got invited to become, as far as I can remember, invited to become an associate member. So where does that fit in with the book? Well, if I had been a student, I don't think I would have accepted the challenge of the book, because it was so vast and it was such a big challenge in a way. But when I can remember you rang me, Tom, and you said about Victor and the idea he had for the book. And he said, well, you know, he would really like you to do it. What do you think? And I thought, and I can remember you sold it to me. It only take about 6 months to a year, you said. You said, it's only a few pictures, you know, it'll be easy. Yeah. And I thought, well, okay, I always wanted to do something, to be asked to do something for the Mouth of Foot Painters. You know, I thought it might be something smaller, like, can you do this Christmas card or something like that? But so I decided, okay, I'll do it. I'll accept the challenge. And it really was a challenge. I think if Victor was here now, he said it was a challenge for both of us, because he had ideas, and anybody who knows Victor, he's very, very particular. And yeah, it took quite a lot of knocking the rough edges off of each other, I think. I've said this to him as well. There are more than a couple of times where I thought, I don't want this anymore. This is just too much hassle. I nearly threatened for him to have it back. But thankfully, the Lord's given me stubbornness as well. When I thought, no, I'm going to persevere. I will persevere. Because he had also told me about that he was looking for artists. And even 2 years before, he eventually asked you about who you think, Tom, should do it. And you mentioned me. And he said, well, even 2 years before that, he had thought of me. So I wanted to carry on with the challenge. And yeah, it really was a challenge.
How many pictures was it?
It was 32 pictures in the book, plus all the support work, and all the pictures that also got scrubbed in the process of doing things. So it was a full 2 to 2.25 years work.
And now it's been in publication for a year.
Yeah.
And it's been very successful, hasn't it?
It's been very well reviewed even this year, and people are saying, well, this is one person said, well, who's got a big online following, and said, look, this is maybe the best children's book of the year. And she said, look, if you can get it, get it.
It was the pictures that made it.
Well, it is very much the working of, I did the illustration, but it was well written, and if it hadn't worked together, the important thing is they needed to work together, the story with the pictures. And as I said, I've kind of described it as like you're in the room and you've been given 4 walls and they're all blank, and then you've been told, right, fill them. You can have an exhibition, but you've got to fill these walls. And in a way, that's what doing the book was like. It was like all this blankness, and it wasn't like just in 32 individual pictures. These pictures had to work together. There had to be a consistency of feel and tone and color. And something else we had to do was character, developing the characters. So when you got the character, then it had to be things, I had to work out things where I could draw them quickly. So Danny, I thought, I need to have tells here that will actually help me to draw him. And so I immediately thought of Harry Potter, and I thought, well, his hair. And I thought, well, Danny could have a sticky up bit of hair. And then when the children see that, it doesn't matter if he's from behind. If you see that sticky up bit of hair, that's Danny. They could pick Danny out from 20 other children or whatever. But that was a challenge, because I've not done that before. Actually having to develop characters and make them look right each time.
Brilliant. So let's get off art for a bit then, and
Yeah.
let's talk about you. Do you have any other hobbies that you do, that you like to do that we don't know of already? Normally in normal life.
Well, I think I have to say the most important thing in my life, apart from my family and friends, is my faith. So that's the first thing. But yeah, I do other things. I like reading when I get an opportunity, but anything to do with, I make models if I get a chance. So whether that's Lego kits, FX kits, Forge World, Games Workshop, anything that's technical. I love having a go at that kind of thing as well.
3D sculpture then.
Yeah, in a way, it's sort of like I mean, Emily's taken on that as well. You say, can you do this and an idea, and she'll just build it. But also, I mean, I like fishing when I get an opportunity, which is quite fun. I haven't been able to do that for a year or two.
And your faith, how is that a long faith that you've had, or is it something that's recently come to you? Or what does it mean when it comes to life?
Well, I know that the first challenge I got of it. This is where Louise comes in again. I was about 4 at the time, and she told me about her faith, and I can remember being scared out my wits. And that's when I was younger. I'm thinking, well, I don't want to be on the wrong side of this. But then, I mean, as you get older and things like that, and in childhood and then teenagehood, then you sort of like forget things. But eventually, yeah, my faith became real. As a Christian, we say we found the Lord, or maybe He found us is more appropriate. But yeah, no, it's important to me because it also influences my art as well, and the way I go about my art. I count it as a gift that God's given me, the art, but it's not something that you can just like click your fingers. When I'm doing talks again, I say it's a gift from God, I believe, but it's a gift that you have to use. You have to exercise. You have to work out like any gift God gives you, and so yeah, it influences me in my work, in the way I go about life, in our family, and I'm glad actually because as Louise will tell you, when I was young, I was horrible. I was really horrible as a character. I don't even like myself when I look back. I think, oh no, not a nice person to be with at times. Mellowed a bit, I hope now.
So what is important in life to you as a person?
Well, as I say, my faith and how that influences my life, my family, definitely. And I can remember when we were young as parents, with Holly and Emily. One thing that made us smile was Holly and Emily might have had tantrums at home, but what was wonderful was because of the way we were able to bring them up. That when they went away, to visit other people, so many people said, "Your kids are lovely. Your kids are lovely," and that meant so much to us as well. As I say, friends, so important, and I include the MFPA family in that as well. The COVID's been awful, been horrible, and we're finding that really now, even in the church for people getting it, it's vile. But one thing that's been brilliant is the fact that it's actually, in a way, it's brought the MFPA family, I think, together because of the Zoom meetings and things like this, where we might meet once a year and occasionally talk to each other on the phone or something. Now we're sort of like talking to each other every other week. We're encouraging each other with where our work's concerned. And that's been really helpful. I mean, I know I've found it helpful, challenging as well, actually. When you see everybody else sort of like beavering away and you think, oh no, I really need to get on here. It's also brought in 1 or 2 bad habits, art-wise, which I thought, which I've had to deal with. Or with a recent painting I was doing, and I kind of attacked it and dumped it, as it were, and thought, yeah, it's done. And then I was actually working on the most recent one, and I had a look and I thought, no, I'm glad for the challenge, but it brought in a bad habit of being a bit sloppy and so I was able to come back and work on it again, and yeah, really pleased with it now.
And going back to the MFPA then, so you mentioned that you're an associate member. How does that work for people that don't know about the MFPA? How does the student, associate, and the members work? What does it mean for you to be an associate?
What it took to me a lot of hard work and perseverance, first of all, and being consistency in my work, ideas about for Christmas cards in particular, and really keep banging on. And so I was a student for quite a lot of years. But in a way, that was a proving ground for me as an artist for the MFPA, having to learn perseverance and patience, but also being dedicated to my work and making sure I'm doing a good job, not just with the paintings I do, but when I'm speaking to people, whether it be one-to-one or as a group or going to schools or whatever. And no, eventually, my work and everything I was doing, and I think also that I was having quite a lot of pictures put forward for printing and being printed and being successful as well in terms of sales. That it became the right time. I think you'd agree with that. I earned.
So if I was able to take you and your easel anywhere in the world, and put you somewhere to paint, where would you love to go and do a painting?
Oh, God, that's a difficult one. Wow. I mean, it depends. To be honest, I mean, we're rich in this country as well with things that we can paint. I can remember a view we were driving back through the Lake District, and it was just one of those lights where the sun came out. There was dark sky behind, and the sun just hit the fells, and the colours just became alive. So in a way, if I could be plonked in that kind of environment and do a picture there and then, I'll be quite happy, whether it be there or New Zealand or whatever. I mean, sometimes it's just where we are. Something would just take me. I know that with me. I use quite a lot of photos. I work quite a lot from photos, and occasionally there'll be something that just really takes my eye. So it'd be like the equivalent. So that would just really excite me. I did a painting called Alan's Fido Express of a steam train with a dog running alongside of it. And it was a photo that he'd done. He said, what he showed me, because he was a photographer of trains, particularly steam trains. And I saw this one, I said to him, can I just turn that into a painting? I just see that as a painting. It needed quite a lot of alterations because it was in modern day tracks. So we had quite a lot of the power gantries and things like that. So they had to go and just working that up. And I was really pleased with the end result. Unfortunately, he wasn't around to see it. I was trying to race him. He was ill at the time with his illness, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do it. But the end result was worth it. And even this year I had one with Louise there. Louise took a picture of a building in the snow up in the Alpine region, and I saw it and I thought, I've got to do that. It's a sitter. I've got to do that as a painting. And I did it, and it was right because it was chosen. It was put forward for printing. So other times you just get things where where you look at things and you just think there's going to be something here, but it's going to take a lot more to work at it. But anyway.
So talking about steam trains, Ian, you should go on when you finish. Go online and put in the watercress, because they've put 15,000 lights on our steam train down here.
Yeah,
it's absolutely mind blowing. It's just
I've seen it. It looks absolutely mad.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we've done our 35 minutes, long enough for a coffee. And I've answered really everything, asked everything I want to ask. Is there anything anybody wants to ask before we move on and carry on with our lives?
I've got a question.
Yeah. Hiya.
Ian.
Yes.
Will there be a follow-up to Danny?
Oh, no, that is a good question. You'll have to ask Victor about that. If you'd asked me immediately after the book, the answer
Yeah.
would have been no. You know where you can take that. But now, yeah, no, it's only a few months after. I mean, I've been talking about that. Maybe just if he comes up with an idea that MFPA like, then I'm not working from nothing now. This is the difference. We've got Danny, we've got the characters, we've got the character of the book. We've got something to work from. We're now at the chair, and Victor and myself have worked together for 2 years. It doesn't mean it would be easy, but yes, I mean, if something came up and they thought it was sellable and things like that, then yeah, I would do another story of Danny.
Brilliant. Anyone else?
Yeah, I've got a question, Ian.
Yeah, hiya, Bas.
With your art foundation that you done many years ago.
Yeah.
What things that you learned in that you carry on all through your art career that was quite pivotal in that learning?
Two things. First thing was, don't be so precious about your painting, which was really helpful. And in on that, if you need to make alterations, do. And the second thing was drawing. Draw. You know, and don't be so precious about the drawing. Although sometimes, like we've had recently with trying to do drawings for a future colouring book for adults, where the lines do need to be clearer, but and cleaner. But the there it was all about drawing, you know, and I found it really liberating. And to have fun as well. You can actually have fun drawing. Sometimes, particularly if you're doing it for a particular thing, it can be a bit dry and a bit staid. But those two things I think have really helped, that I've carried on through.
Okay, thank you.
I've got a question.
Fire away.
What are you going to do after COVID?
Wow. Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it? Go out. I just had Mary off to the left of me said, "Go out." I think that's a good thing. Go out, do things. Go out and do drawing and in amongst other people. I'm actually looking forward, believe it or not, to invites again to schools, which you really can't do at the moment, because I love going to primary schools in particular, because kids will always ask you things. And I can remember one. I much prefer it when they're not prepped. I know, Tom, you like it, I think, differently from me, but I like it when the kids aren't prepped, and you just never know what they're going to ask you. And I love that interaction, because the children relax, you relax, and you can have a lot of fun.
Have they ever asked you any awkward questions, kids, that you feel like, ooh?
I don't worry. I think because with having two daughters, I think I was kind of used to being around young children, and the fact is, I much rather they do that, as long as it's a question, even if it's a bit personal, as long as it's been asked for the right reason, I'll give them an answer.
Yeah.
It's the poor old teachers that go pale, but I love that, and
control it.
yeah, they're like, oh no, Junior's going to be asking about something or other, and I'm just cool in front of it, and the children relax, and it just makes the whole experience a lot better.
Oh, that's great.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's it. I think we've come to our time. Ian, thank you so much. It's been very interesting getting to know you a bit more.
Thank you as well.
And we will put this. I have recorded it, so we have a YouTube channel, MFPA Coffee Morning, that we've put all the talk ones I've remembered to record. Put the one on there. And so thank you, Ian. The thing that I'd like to finish with is I'd like to congratulate our newest member artist. For those of you that don't know, we have three tiers in our association. We have student artists, we have associate members, and we have members. And the members are the owners of the company. And Rob Trent has been just this week being made up to a member. So it was very well done.
Thank you.
I hope
Well done, man.
that Bournemouth is as successful as you've been this year.
Well, thank you very much. It was a wonderful thing to be told, and I'm delighted, and continue to work hard and promote the MFPA as much as I can, and by producing some paintings that hopefully are worthy of being shown.
Brilliant. Thanks very much. And just
Thank
to
you.
remind everybody that January the 22nd is our next talk, and Alan Titchmarsh is going to be interviewing Keith Jantz. My
Yes.
brain didn't get that one, sorry. So it will be the same link as this link. So if you're interested, spread the word, tell your friends. In the new year, we might swap to doing some afternoon tea sessions, because there's a number of our artists that can't make first thing in the morning. They've got carers and things coming in. So we'll after February, we'll look at doing some afternoon teas, and we'll put them all on our Facebook, social media, and Instagram and everything. But I won't see you all before Christmas. So I wish you all a really, really happy Christmas. I hope that I wish you all the best, as in chicken, and hope you have a great time. Hope that you can, if you can get together with your family, you do. I'm here with Lucy and Holly. Holly's already done the gingerbread house, and she arrived back home yesterday. So
We got to do that.
yeah, we're all getting ready for that. But it's been really nice. I think that Zoom meetings this year have been really great to get to know a lot more about each other, and to increase the size of our MFPA family, not just with our artists, but with our followers and our supporters and our family. And this time at the moment is a really awful time. As I said to the artist last week, that I've found the winter extremely difficult. And so having the Zoom meetings and bringing people together, I think, has been a really lovely idea. And we'll see you all next year. So have a really, really lovely Christmas. And thank you for coming. So,
Thanks, Ian.
Thanks a lot.
Very
everyone.
nice.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Ian.
very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
Christmas.
All
Well
right,
done,
same
Ian.
Louise.
Well done, Tom.
Bye. Well done.
Bye. Bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.